This week on Pop Fiction, AMC, The Fog, Eternal, Travis Scott, and Ralphie D recommends something cool.
Yeah, he does.
Pretty good. Okay, this is 252 Pop Fiction, where you'll find all the news and reviews in pop culture that's right to type. Today's top story. AMC Entertainment CEO Adam Aron sold 625,000 shares this week. Half of the total he expects to sell under an SEC selling program. The transaction is part of the CEO's estate's planning as he approaches his 67th birthday next year. Following the news, AMC shares dropped 4% to finish at $38.29, and we're down another 3% in after-hours trade.
I'm calling shenanigans.
Now, let me get this right. Martha Stewart went to jail for insider trading, correct?
Right.
Now, we all know that the movie business is dying. It's been dying on the vine for a while.
Taking a dookie.
And AMC, remember, there was all these issues before, pre-COVID, that stuff happened. COVID went down, and there was a whole thing with all the movies being released on the streaming services first, and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. As you guys know, all the other...
And they're still making money, though.
They are still making money, but when the CEO of the company starts...
dumping stock, something's got to be up.
Right?
Yeah.
Somebody knows something, right?
So somebody knows something, and they ain't saying nothing. That's what I think.
Maybe we'll have one less movie theater company.
But AMC is pretty big.
Yeah.
Next thing would be Regal, right?
They ain't going nowhere.
Attorneys for former Raiders receiver Henry Ruggs III filed a motion to keep his medical records out of the hands of prosecutors who are accusing him of driving under the influence in a catastrophic incident that killed a lady in Las Vegas and, of course, cost Ruggs his spot on the team.
Yeah.
So that was ugly. When I first heard about it, they said Ruggs was dead.
No, really?
Yes, they're on the news saying Raiders,
he wasn't.
Henry Ruggs, and then, bam, he's
apparently
alive.
Him and the lady that was in the car with him both got out, basically unscathed. The lady who he hit, I want to say it speeds up to 150 plus miles an hour. When he had hit, it wasn't just the impact that killed her, it was the fact that her Toyota RAV4 was on fire, and she actually died in the fire. Yeah.
That's awful.
I could definitely understand why his attorneys are trying to keep his medical records out of it, because preliminary reports said that his
BAC was twice the legal limit.
Yeah, it was like 0.168 or something like that.
Fry him.
Well, I mean, it's unfortunate that this young kid did this, and we've talked about this off camera. There's so many ways, especially in Vegas, for you to get home from wherever you're at. Yeah. There's Uber, there's Lyft, there's so many different ride shares and shuttles and buses and cabs, and the fact that you have money, like find another way.
Yeah, definitely. Don't drive your super badass vehicle.
Stop playing Fast and Furious down
residential
streets.
It's awful. Yeah, it's terrible. The loss of life in something so senseless is always horrible. Right. I hate it. Well, anywho, according to Houston's police chief, organizers of the AstroWorld music event, more tragedy. What the fuck is up with this depressing show?
It was a really, really, really bad news week.
I'm saying, have not provided investigators with clear data on private security employees patrolling the premises.
First of all, before we continue with this, I just want to apologize if any of this seems insincere. Even though I'm smiling, I'm sad on the inside.
Oh, most definitely. More tragic loss of life. Employees patrolling the premises when a major crowd rushed during the headliner Travis Scott's set resulted in at least 8 deaths. And I heard there were even more casualties afterward, too, man. Yeah. It's awful.
I know Drake was also at the show, and it took him a couple of days before he tweeted out a response. And basically, my thoughts and prayers are with the people and the victims. It was senseless. It shouldn't have happened. Yeah. And I know that they're trying to get a lot of... There's a lot of finger pointing going on right now. Why don't we inform JB? Ralph, why don't you go ahead and let JB know.
There was a big concert, and a lot of people rushed the stage or something, and people got trampled, and I was hearing all kinds of ill stuff was happening. People getting
basically
poked
with the
needles,
event, with the security and stuff, things were happening, and it was like, you know, especially living in a post-COVID world, like so many things shouldn't have happened. Mm-hmm. Like there were so many things from the beginning to the end of this that was just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And being, what was it, like 500? It was. I mean, it was a lot of people, and just for things like this, it's like we want to get back to fucking Texas, man. We want to get back to normal, but
Texas,
like let's not rush it. Let's still use the protocols, and let's stop worrying about your civil rights or whatever the people are thinking that they're being taken away, stripped of. It's like before you gotta crawl before you walk, and when we're coming out of something like that, you just can't just jump both feet deep into the deep end of the pool.
Well, states' rights.
I know, but let's not.
Yeah, let's not diverge into that.
Yeah,
it's a lot of BS, I think.
Speaking of diverging, this week's review, The Eternals, directed by Chloe Zhao. The Eternals, an immortal species with extraordinary abilities who have covertly lived on Earth for thousands of years, regroup to fight the Deviant.
Thanos?
Okay, hold on.
No, not Thanos.
Hold on.
Well,
let's before
they're gonna have to back into that.
Hold on.
Thing. Hey, man.
First things first. I'm just saying.
Here, all right.
First things first. I have said on more than one occasion I am always 100% in the bag for all of these superhero movies. They have my money before I even see a trailer. With that being said,
this was not money well spent.
I'm not gonna. I didn't like it. I didn't like it, and the things that I had a problem with was the pacing of the movie.
It have to be 3 hours.
In a 3 hour movie, you would suspect in a 3 hour movie I would get to know the characters. I didn't know. I didn't care about what they're. You gotta have. Yeah. You got to care about their wants. You got to care about their needs, their desires. There were certain people that were completely wasted. Having Dane Whitman in seemed like a complete waste of a character. He was literally in the very first part of the movie and the very end.
The speedster girl.
She
was barely in it too. I mean, this was
it was a lot, and the one of the things is you have the character Athena, and she's supposed to be this badass warrior, and if it wasn't for me watching Laura Croft, Wanted, Salt, and Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that I wouldn't have known that she was a badass, because that's the only reason why I knew Angelina Jolie was a badass. But watching this movie, I was like, well, she ain't.
I think I'd rather watch Laura Croft.
I'm just saying, it was just
that's not a good movie.
I know.
It was just a lot of tell and no show.
Exactly.
And for something that long, and I know that they were saying, and I even put the director's name in it because I'm just going to say the director. She's
Oscar winner,
talented director. And then some people say that when you watch this movie, maybe she was hamstrung by being
That was 3 hours long. She couldn't have been that hamstrung.
Well, I'm saying being in the Marvel, the MCU formula,
right?
Like to have to go and I know it's not fair to compare her movie to like the Russo brothers, but when you think about like Infinity War and like people like Captain America only had like 8 minutes of screen time. You think back, it's like, wow, he only had 8-9 minutes of screen time.
Wow.
In that 3 hour movie, but it was so wasted. Good and captivating.
Right.
Those 8 minutes was the
time well spent.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So which one's better, Thor 2 or the Eternals?
I'm gonna go like this: Thor 2, the Incredible Hulk, and the Eternals are the Baltic Avenue of MCU. What is the other? Baltic
and Mediterranean.
Mediterranean, whatever. That's the first two right after Go, the Ghetto. That's what those movies are.
On the Monopoly board of the MCU.
You got Endgame and Infinity Wars, the Boardwalk and Park Place.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That trash.
It was
trash.
Listen, I'm not going to call it trash. I'm going to say it definitely was disappointing. A lot of wasted time, space, etc., energy. Yeah. Funny stuff was funny. I like my man.
Yes, he was funny. The valet was funny.
Right.
That was the only thing that I cared about. Honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
And I thought the guy Druid was a good, but like again, not wholly. Here's the other thing. This is I had no expectations walking in. I didn't really know about the Eternals. Like it wasn't my thing.
Right.
Like a lot of the cosmic stuff.
But them being
wasn't my thing.
Adjacent to a lot of books that I read, I knew of the Eternals.
I didn't care. But then again, I didn't care one iota about Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
I went to saw that movie, and I was like, that was the greatest movie ever. I went to see this movie. I fell asleep several times. Kanan fell asleep. I fell asleep.
I saw that.
Mileage was asleep.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were sleeping.
I wasn't asleep, but
I saw you upset. I saw the body language. You was
Yeah.
disgusted. Big Dog wasn't even talking. She usually talks throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
She was like,
I tell you what, my cousin hates waiting for the scene after the credits. And I said, I'm not moving. I'm watching the scene after the credits. Why is that? So I will never watch this movie again.
I saw the first one. I didn't wait for the second one. I was leaving. I didn't want to see the first scene after the credits. I heard there were two. I was like, I don't care. I don't care about any of this.
I'll catch this on YouTube.
I hate movies that have unnecessary crying. You show me a tear coming down the face of somebody's upset or whatever, they gotta cry. And don't get me started on the Rise of Skywalker and all the senseless crying.
Remember that movie?
It's probably for the best. This week, Ralphie D recommends John Carpenter's The Fog. A little bit late, but I do enjoy horror movies throughout the year. As a little California coastal community prepares to celebrate its centennial, strange things begin to happen. And this is the OG Fog, all right?
Yes.
Right. Not
the original.
The original.
Well, yeah, because I can see who's in it.
Yeah, Reverend Malone, played by Hal Holbrook, discovers a dark secret about the town's founding. Radio presenter Stevie, played by Adrienne Barbeau, also dead, observes a mystical fire, and hitchhiker Elizabeth, played by Jamie Lee Curtis, discovers the disfigured body of a fisherman. The community is thereafter enveloped in a bizarre iridescent fog, and more people begin to perish.
I don't remember a mystical fire. She was watching The Fog.
Did I say fire?
No, they set a fire on the beach.
Yeah, they set a fire
to distract the ship to steer towards the rocks.
Right.
But she was up there looking at the fog.
Well, that said, do you remember seeing this as a child?
Oh yeah, I love this movie. It's
great.
Creepy.
You talk about good pacing. This movie has.
Now I remember, like probably just because it's more recent history, watching the remake of it. Wasn't that with Tom Welling? I want to say that was with Tom Welling.
It was with Tom Welling.
Yeah,
It was not good.
Yeah,
but you know what? I think I remember liking it. I remember like
it came out in 2005. You may have liked it at the time. I bet if you watch it now, it's probably
not
trash.
good.
Most likely.
I remember liking it, but I remember it being this isn't the original. But the original, I think I want to say we watched it at Pat's house on like VHS. It had to be.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. $10,000 says
in his room or something. Like it wasn't like even in the living room. It was like in his little ass room. It was like all three of us
on a small TV.
On a small TV.
It was a line, Malone, I have your gold.
Yeah,
that's creepy. You know what? That's the best part about it. Fog is creepy.
Yes,
right. That fog was thick.
Yes,
and the ghosts were creepy. You barely saw them, and they were frightening.
Yeah.
It was creepy.
But then again, we were young, and a lot of things scared us.
You have murdering ghost leper pirates. You can't beat that. That's the top of the horror.
Yeah, and I mean, the movie moved along well, moves along well, so you should definitely check
Top
it out.
of horror, fast zombies. That's
are
the top.
Are you good with how zombies are fast now and have been fast for the past 15 15, 20.
I don't like fast zombies. Zombies are supposed to be slow,
Right?
and you can just leave me alone,
I can do
zombie.
the zombie, all right?
Yeah.
That's
I
all
don't like
got.
a zombie. Why? He's pacing.
Every zombie
He's pacing me, and he's not getting tired. I'm getting tired.
With the exception of the first zombie movie, Night of the Living Dead, all zombie movies have the same ending. They always make it somewhere safe, and then during the credits, they get attacked.
Oh,
Yeah.
And they find
That's
out
right.
their haven is
Well,
zombies.
they're all an allegory.
all the same.
It's all an allegory that we
Right.
can't escape death.
Yeah.
And
Or consumerism.
Well, that's good. I'll leave the allegories to other fans. I'll watch something else.
well, anyway, I'm Ralphie D, and that's news to me.
I'm Cool Water Kurt. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
We'd like to hear what you think. Leave us a comment down below. Let your opinion be heard.
And if you like this video, please check out other videos on our channel, like this weekend, Getting the Character in 252.
And I'm JB. I'd like to give a shout out to my man AM at Comic Safari. And this is 252 Pop Fiction, where you hear it first.
You missed.
I know.
You missed.
Take two.
Adonis, pull yourself together.